My name is Michael Dana. In 2008, I was diagnosed with a rare brain cancer, and after 6 years, I was cancer-free. But the ordeal left me changed, with a different outlook on life and a new sense of priorities. While still recovering, I earned a degree in economics from UNC Chapel Hill. My studies taught me to analyze data and open my mind to see things differently. I also started formal training in the martial arts to better defend myself and use it as a means of extreme physical therapy. Since then, I've obtained black belts in 3 martial arts. I own and run a martial arts school and have logged over 51 teaching hours. To my friends and family, I'm a simple business owner. But to the martial arts world, I'm something else. I am Sifu Mike, and this is Dragon Theory. We're talking about making choices based on the emotions that we have, right? Now, the analogy I'm going to use here is not computers. One is a little bit more relatable. Okay, I want you to think about hunger and being hungry. Okay, hunger is an emotion. That's something that your body has that tells you, hey, I want fuel, I want food. Okay, even if your body happens to have all the nutrients that it needs, it's all spread out, but the body's saying, I want this in a very concentrated spot, right? I don't want to have to work so hard. Remember, I said it was lazy, right? So it doesn't want to have to work for that. So it says, hey, feed me, feed me, feed me, right? At that point, when you get that emotion of hunger, okay, you then have a choice. Okay, the choice is you can either eat or not eat, right? You can choose when to eat, at that exact moment, or like an hour later or what have you. You can choose what to eat. You can choose how much to eat. Okay, some people eat a little bit, some people eat a lot. It all depends. It's your choice based on that emotion. Okay, because the thing is, you've learned since being a baby how to satisfy that particular emotion and what you do with that emotion. It's a learned behavior, right? So when a baby feels hunger, it doesn't know what that is, and it doesn't know how to communicate, so it just cries, right? You hear about parents all the time figuring out the different tones and the different types of cries that their baby is having, because what they tend to do is when they first get a kid, like they get the baby, it cries, and they go through all the different steps, process of elimination to try to figure out what is going to help this baby to satisfy that particular feeling. The baby's like, oh, they keep trying this thing, they keep trying that thing, and I still have the feeling, oh wait, they did this thing, they put food in me that makes that feeling go away. Right? So you will learn this from a very early age, that putting food makes the feeling go away. So you make the choice later on, hey, I've got this feeling, I know what this feeling is, to satisfy that feeling and make it go away, I gotta eat, right? But you can also make the choice later on, hey, I don't have to eat, right? It's your choice. Now, putting that into a different context, right? Same principle though. I have an emotion. I'm acting on the emotion. So if somebody says something to me, and say it's negative in nature and it makes me feel something negative, right? It's all about my perception of that, okay? It is the learned behavior from basically my language that I understand. And there are several different types of languages that people understand. Inherently, they understand body language because everybody has a body, for the most part, right? And the human body can only move in so many different ways. So that's something you automatically interpret. Now, they also understand the tone of the voice, whether it's really low or really high, or if they go, and so they understand inherently the tone because it's something that they also do. Okay? What they don't quite understand is the verbal and written language, right? That's kind of cultural based, and so I like to use the example of an Eskimo, right? Because I know nothing about Eskimos, all right? I don't even know the actual name of the language that they speak. It's just Eskimo speak, right? And so if an Eskimo comes to me and says something massively offensive, just the worst possible insults and everything you can possibly think of, but they do it in a very monotone kind of speak, and they make nobody movement whatsoever like this, okay, I'm going to be like, yay, I don't know what they're saying, right? Because my perception of what they're saying is different. I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I barely speak English, so if somebody comes to me and speaks Eskimo, I'm like, right on, man. So, I don't know what they're saying verbally, right? But if they start having body language, I'm like, that's an aggressive type motion or whatever like that. I understand. I kind of get the context clues of what they're saying, right? I'm like, okay, well, he's acting negative and acting aggressive. I don't understand verbally what he's saying, but I can kind of get the clue, kind of get the hint that maybe it's not the best thing, right? If the tone of their voice is very loud, very violent, very harsh, then I can kind of get, again, context clues, be like, okay, maybe he's not saying the nicest things about me, right? And so it has to do with my perception of what they are saying. So when we take that into a language that we do understand very well, right? If he says it in a language that I understand, like English, I kind of understand it sometimes. You know, I'm from the South. Gotta give me a break, man. I got the one language, man. I can't spell half of it. I can't pronunciate the other half. I'm doing the best I can. Alright, so they say something, insult me or whatever like that. It's a negative emotion that I feel because I understand it. I interpret what is being said to me. So now I have a feeling, right? I have a feeling. The feeling was caused by them, yes, but I have the feeling. So I have a choice. Just like hunger, it's a feeling. My choice is, do I act on that feeling? How do I act on it? When do I act on it? How much do I act on it? The same kind of stuff for hunger as you do with that negative emotion. And it's going to be based on whether or not I want to control it, get it to stop, or if I want them to make it stop. Alright, if I want them to say something or do something that's going to make that emotion, that negative emotion, stop. Okay? But the thing is, I have that choice. That's my choice that I can make based on the emotion I have. Like I said, you can choose to either like act on it or not act on it. Basically, you can choose to be offended or not offended if somebody says something that you don't like. Okay? So it is your choice. I tell people a lot of times, don't apologize for somebody else's choice. That is their choice, man. At that point, though, you have the control over your body, over your actions, over your mind, right? So this is the thing I'm trying to get across to people, and I've had a couple of people in self-defense that I've told this about, that the person that has the most control over you at any point in time is going to be you, right? Unless you're like a minor, then, you know, listen to your folks. Okay, that's my legal disclaimer, kids. Listen to your folks until you're like 18 or so. Then you are going to be your biggest opponent. Okay, you can know all the self-defense stuff in the world. If you psych yourself out or if you freak out at that moment in time, it's not going to help you. All right. I've even seen fighters that are super skilled, but they defeat themselves mentally before they ever even throw a punch, before they ever step into the ring. They are defeated mentally, okay? This is a very real thing in sports specifically, where they say, hey, you know, this game is 90% mental and 10% physical, because if your brain is not there, if you're not in full control of every single thing, okay, then you can lose, right? So you want to stay in control of whatever is happening, because the thing is, when you act on a feeling, you can almost think of it as like a short-term memory that never becomes a long-term memory. That file in your brain never actually fires and creates, because it is something that you always do. Right? And I'll circle back to that in another part, but talking about the mental choice based on the feeling that I'm getting. Now here's the thing, it's like a big thing, it's a crucial thing as far as making that control, because there are people who understand this and will say whatever they want to get an emotional response out of you, to get an emotion that they know you can react to. Like I said before, the human body can only move in so many different ways, so there's a finite number of ways that you can react or respond to a particular type of emotion. So they're going to go for the most predictable ones, and they're going to try to use that and manipulate that against you. Okay? So when somebody says something, even if they don't believe it, right, and you get an emotional response out of it, and you act the exact way that they want you to act, right, they're the ones that have control over you, because if they hadn't said anything, you wouldn't have done anything. But they said something that caused you to act differently. So at that moment, who has the control? The other person or you? Because you're doing something based entirely off of what they said, right? And the thing is, putting this into light, comedians do this all the time. They just use laughter and they use comedy to manipulate your emotions, to get you to respond instantaneously. And they get you to respond with a laugh, right? They're trying to add that kind of levity to it, but they're doing that. They're using their words to manipulate your emotions to make you do a choice at that moment. At that moment, they have control, you don't, right? Turning it around and going into the visual spectrum, okay, the directors of films, specifically horror films, are really good at using the visual medium to manipulate your emotions to get you to react a certain way at a certain time instantaneously. Okay, they're doing it with visuals. So sometimes comedy and film, they will pair together to hit you with, from all sides, in every different type of language you understand, as far as body language, visual intent, and auditory and stuff in using the words, right? They're manipulating your emotions to get a particular response, right? They have the control over your head, right? So keep that in mind. I know it's a kind of a big thing to think about, is the controlling, like who is actually in control? Because you got to think about it, man. If you look up a video of a comedian who is telling jokes in a language that you don't know, right? You're probably not going to get any of that stuff unless they do some kind of physical comedy with that as well. Then you kind of get the slapstick of it. But if it's just words, and they're not words that you understand, if you don't perceive it, you're not going to get the same kind of emotional response that they're looking for, right? So you can test this out, right? If you like this video, be sure to like it and subscribe, because I got even more. And definitely check out tkfmma. Also, check out thedragonmethod.com. Alright, thedragonmethod.com. It's my website for all kinds of cool stuff. So, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you stuck around and watched the whole thing. And hope you learned something, because knowledge is a big thing. Knowing is half the battle.